Hey guys, Rick the Rager. Hope you're having a fantastic day. And let's talk about Charlottesville. I think you can I'm kind of late on this. I was debating whether or not to make a video about this at all, but I have had it up to here with the fucking idiots commenting about this on every fucking post I see about this. They have to say something snippety about this, that, or the other thing that and it's such unsound logic that they use. I can't even understand why they would think that would be an answer. Okay, and what I'm referring to is the people that try to divert the conversation to something else instead of just saying Nazis are bad and we shouldn't have Nazis. So let me say it right now for you guys: Nazis are bad, and we should not have Nazis in America, in Germany, in France, anywhere in the world. How about we just don't have Nazis anywhere in the world of any persuasion? How about that? How about we do that? Okay? Maybe we don't have Nazis. Maybe we make Nazis an illegal thing, like Germany did. And look what happened. They don't have any Nazis now. Because you can't be a Nazi in Germany. You're not allowed to. Because Nazis are, stay with me now, bad. Nazis are a bad thing. Okay, so, now that that's out of my system, let's go on to the actual points of this video. So there were several different arguments that I've heard over the past few days that are completely stupid, and I'm going to debunk every single one of them. And if you disagree with my points in here, please feel free to leave your troll-ass comment, down below. But you're wrong, and you're going to realize you're wrong even as you're writing a comment before even watching this video. I know you are. I know somebody out there is going to do it because somebody's a moron. Okay, so let's see. Argument number one. What about Black Lives Matter and Antifa? What? You literally just compared this guy. I've seen this a million times from a million different people. They say, oh, what about Black Lives Matter and Antifa? They do violence too. The organization itself, that's not the core of the organization. That's a bunch of idiots that show up there looking for a fight, And people can say, oh, what about the chants and stuff about killing cops and shit that Black Lives Matter does? Okay? Does that mean that every single person that protests against police brutality and protests against people, unarmed civilians being shot for nothing, that every one of them, oh, they must be violent, every one of them? But no, this is the logic they use. This is the logic. This is the same logic that leads to saying, oh, well, Islam's a terrorist religion. It's all just terrorists. All the Muslims are terrorists. No, they're fucking not. Okay? Just like not all white people are racists, but all racists are Nazis and KKK dudes. And when you're waving a flag like that, and when you're waving like the Nazi flag or the black, the what do they call it, the black sun, or the new whatever, they did like a variation on the Confederate battle flag, and so that's like one of the symbols of the alt-right. Yeah, I'm not using that term. They're fucking Nazis. Okay? That's some of the stuff they use, all those symbols. When you're waving a flag with those symbols, holding a shield with those symbols, have a patch with those symbols on it, and you're saying things like, Jews will not replace us, and white power, and blood for soil, or blood on soil, blood for soil, something like that. I don't know. Fucking whatever it is. It's something that the Nazis used to say, and now in Charlottesville these people were saying it. And now, here's another argument. Oh, well, what about Black Lives Matter? What about Antifa? What about these people? They're violent. Yeah, but there's a difference here when they're being violent. Number one, it's usually fringe people that are being violent, right, within the mass protest itself. Number two, those people are usually met with force by the police, as they should. If you are a rioter, if you are a vandal, if you start breaking things or hurting people, you should be tear gassed and pepper sprayed and taken into custody because you are now a criminal because you are being violent and you're not helping the situation. Okay? Okay. Then we all understand this here. But those people were actually met with force by the police. Every time there was a Black Lives Matter something or that with the police and there was violence or vandalism or somebody broke something or somebody set something on fire, every single time that happened, there were always cops that intervened, usually in full riot gear, and took those people down, right? Now, they didn't arrest the mass swath of people because not everybody was involved, but they got the ones that were involved and they drove away everybody else, right? So the whole argument of, oh, well, they're all violent. No, they're not. Just like not all of these guys were violent. Now, here's the thing. The only difference here is people don't show up to Antifa marches and Black Lives Matter marches armed with military-grade assault weapons. This was a thing. Look it up. There were armed militiamen in full military gear with military weapons walking down the street, walking down Main Street, USA, and they had fucking swastikas on them and fucking, patches for this white supremacy bullshit. My God, could you imagine the bloodshed if law-abiding people were following the Second Amendment, exercising their Second Amendment right, but they were black or Mexican or anything but white? Go ahead and try to tell me that a group of black dudes, armed, walking up and down the street, shouting about black power and shouting about how everybody else needs to die and that they are the one true race, and waving flags, that are representative of such organizations, tell me that would not immediately be met with force by the police, telling them to disperse. Okay? Alright, number 2, back to the force thing. Alright, still going with the force thing, right? The police force thing. There was a full-scale fight! Before the car and all that. The fucking Nazi dudes start going after these dudes, and this dude's going after that dude. I don't care who started it, but there was a full-scale fucking fight, and the police did nothing. All they did was come in after everybody was getting their ass kicked and tried to break it up. That's it. Now, they didn't jump in, immediately. That's what I'm saying. They didn't jump in immediately, right? They didn't just start tear gassing the crowd and saying, you know what? Now y'all lost your privileges. Get the fuck off the streets. You're not supposed to be here. Okay. All right. That was first point, right? Okay. Not all people that defend Confederate statues or whatever are racist. They're wrong, but they're not they might not be racist in what they believe in, whatever. But when you have a Nazi patch and you're shouting things about white supremacy, you're a fucking Nazi, okay? And you need to go away. Okay, next on the list of things that I've heard. Well, if you're going to remove statues of Robert E. Lee because he was a racist and slave owner, blah, 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 well, Washington had slaves and Jefferson had slaves. Yeah, big difference here, bud. Washington and Jefferson had slaves when it was legal. Now, does that make it right? No, it was still not right for them. But the difference is, they built a nation, they fought against British tyranny, and, we can get into the semantics of they stole land from the Native Americans and slaughtered them in a genocide and everything. We can get into that a whole different degree later. That's a whole other video. But in this context, Washington and Jefferson, yeah, they had slaves. Who the fuck didn't? What white guy back then that had land or power or status of some kind didn't have slaves? You had slaves. Why? Because it made you were profitable then. Now, the difference here between them having slaves and Lee having slaves is Lee was told it was illegal and continued doing it. He went against the law. The law, and the law is not always right. There are laws on the books that are really stupid that you need to get rid of. But until the law is changed, the law is the law, right? Now, does that mean you shouldn't fight against shitty laws? No, of course not. You should. If a law is wrong or immoral and needs to be changed, go out and campaign to change it. Just because it was legal to own slaves didn't make it right, but they had the law on their side. Lee did not. Lee and the other Confederates did not. They had no excuse to continue owning slaves because it was signed in the Emancipation Proclamation to say you can't have slaves anymore. No. My God. Not only that, but if you take the racist part out of it, then Lee and the rest of his Confederates, they were just secessionists who fought the United States because of economic power. Now, it circles all the way back around slavery because everything to do with the Civil War, no matter what angle you take on it, always comes back to the root of the problem, which was slavery, which is fascinating if you think about it. But the whole thing comes back down to that. And then, even if you take that out of it, even if you try to take that out of it, you can't. But if you could successfully take the whole racism and slavery thing out of it, you would still have traitors to a nation. You still have secessionists. You still have guys that were going against the law of the land and going against Congress and going against our democracy and saying, you know what? No, I'm going to do whatever I want. Which is not cool. That makes you a traitor. Okay? And now you could make up the argument of, well, Washington and Jefferson were traitors to British rule. Yeah, but there's a difference. There's a fucking difference here. Everybody hated the Brits. But when they made the new nation, they were trying to change it and make it better. Okay? King George was an asshole, or whichever fucking King James, King George, whatever king was in charge at that point. He was being an asshole. And people didn't want to be under that rule anymore, and all that, no taxation representation. That's all history BS that we're going to get into later. But for right now, that's the thing. Even if it's not about racism or slavery, you run into the issue of them being secessionists and traitors. They were traitors to the United States of America. They were, actually, if you think about it, they were the first domestic terror group because they refused to stand with the United States and be united. And they started to break off and try to be their own thing. Alright, so that's the Washington-Jefferson argument out of the way. What else was there? Let's see. So there was the Antifa and Black Lives Matter thing that tried to divert the conversation, just like when people try to critique Trump and all of his little Trump tars to say, hey, what about Hillary's email? What about Obama? Doesn't matter. All that we can talk about later. Different conversation. We're talking about this now, right? So that was that. Then Washington Jefferson went through that bit, and let's see, what else? Oh yeah, did I mention they're fucking Nazis? I should not have to say this. I really shouldn't. It's sad. It is so sad. In the words of Donald Trump, sad, believe me, sad, tremendously sad. It's pathetic that in the year 2017, I have to sit here and tell you, like you're 4 years old, that Nazis are bad. That they're just bad dudes. These people want ethnic cleansing and genocide of all people that are not white. They want everybody just dead who is not them. And they want to subjugate and oppress everybody else until they die. And then they'll have their perfect whatever world. What the fuck? And that's allowed in America. Why? Why are we allowing Nazis? That's messed up. God, and now before anybody goes thinking, oh, you just want to destroy the statues. No, I don't. I do not want the statues destroyed. I do not want to destroy these statues. I do not want to destroy a piece of history. You want to take them down and put them in a museum or put them in a memorial park? Fine. That's fine. You do that. You take them down, and if you want to make the argument, oh, well, what about the other ones of Washington, Jefferson, whatever, take them down too. Put all of that shit in a memorial park that's relevant to the time period. So, you know what you should have? You should have Lee and Grant statues right next to each other in the park. That's what it should be. That's what it should be. And if somebody wants their own statue on their own property, if they want like a little bust of Lee or something, by all means, that's your own deal, dude. That's you. But when it comes to government, what? Why? Why are we glorifying these traitors to the U.S.? Why? Why? Why would we continue with this? And so don't destroy the statues, but do remove them because they're stupid. Maybe put up something everybody can agree on. Maybe like a peace symbol, or a dove with an olive branch of peace. I don't know. How about a bust of Gandhi? Or Jesus? I don't know. Everybody loves Jesus. What the fuck? Why can't we have statues like that? Why can't we have nice statues that represent only nice things? Why do we have to have statues of people who are assholes or have something bad about them? Have peace and love and, whatever statues. I don't know. Two dudes shaking hands. How about that? They're all they're buddies. Whatever. I don't know. I don't know. If you want to replace it with something nice. Okay? There's just something nice that everybody can agree on, that everybody goes, yeah, that's a good thing. Not hard. Not hard. Not hard. And there was another bit. What was it? I had just gotten into it when I was ranting during that. I just thought of another comment I'd seen. What was it? It was the thing about, well, what about this? Well, what about that? And the statues. And then there was another thing that people like to bring up that makes no fucking sense. What was it? I'm trying to remember now. I can't remember. I really can't remember. I was saying, well, if you want to take down the statues and then do this. I don't want the statues removed. I don't. Black Lives Matter, Antifa, white, Washington, Jefferson. There was a third point here that people like to make or try to make. Oh yeah, about history. Trying to erase history. Dude, if you need a statue to keep your history in the eyes of your population is failing and they're stupid. Okay? If you are not teaching your children how to be literate and read, okay, and know what history is, right? If you're not teaching your kids how to do that, you're a bad parent. You're a very bad parent if this statue needs to be your link to the past. If you can't pick up a fucking book. We're in the information age, people. You can get anything on the internet. You can find anything. If I wanted to know tomorrow, if I said, you know what, I'm going to do an independent study on, of quantum mechanics. I want to learn more about that. I could go online and find free PDFs of how quantum mechanics works from Einstein and shit. I could go to the library and get books on quantum mechanics. I could go and find people who know about quantum mechanics. I could find them online. I could find somebody on Facebook who knows about quantum mechanics and have them tutor me. Right? People know this shit. It's not being erased. Germany got rid of all its Nazi shit. Very few Nazi buildings remain. Okay? There's no swastikas. There's no salutes. No fucking none of that crap. You're not allowed to be a Nazi. But interestingly enough, they have not forgotten their history. Why? Because it's in their books. It's taught in their history books. It's taught as a dark chapter in their country's history. Just as slavery is taught as a dark chapter in ours. Does that mean it never happened? Of course not. It happened. It sucked, and we went on from it. We advanced. We evolved as a nation. And, Germany had the same thing with the Nazis. It was a dark chapter in the nation's history. They got over it. They evolved, and they said never again, and this is a bad thing. I don't see how the fuck a statue is supposed to be history. Come on. If the statue was all about history and shit, what about the USSR? The USSR falls, they tear down all these monuments to Stalin and shit. All that shit gets destroyed, and then we went into, Putin stuff. But they don't forget about Stalin and everybody, because they remember who those people are, and they put it in their books and shit. It's oh my god, it's so stupid. It's so stupid to make that argument that it's history. Yeah, it's history. It's also history that's already in a book. It's already in 1,000 different books. It's already in 1,000 different texts online. This history is not going anywhere. You can't just get rid of it. You can't just annihilate history like that. It's impossible. Now, people are going to pick up the Orwellian thing. I saw somebody actually make a stupid comment about George Orwell's 1984, about, oh, if you want to get rid of people's, if you want to control people, then you just get rid of their history. And it's like, how easy do you think that actually is? You would have to eliminate not only all the monuments to them, then you have to brainwash them. You would have to do what North Korea does to their kids. Brainwash the fuck out of them. And even then, you would have to do that on a global scale simultaneously and kill all dissenters and shit. That's it. And even then, people would still have the truth and be like, hey, you would have to burn every book, basically destroy the entire internet. You would have to destroy all of the internet. You would have to go find all of this physical storage and servers that this information is on, right? You'd have to take everybody's computer, you'd have to fry the motherboards to where they can't be used again and start installing your own stuff. You'd have to kill every dissenter, every rebel, everybody who is against you. It just can't happen. Unless people are too stupid to understand that it might, if they're not vigilant enough. But we're vigilant. We understand this, okay? We have history. It's on file. It's in books. The history argument's gone, okay? It's gone. And this whole thing pisses me off. The stupidity that I have to sit here and tell you that Nazis are a bad thing and we should not have Nazis. That Nazis should not be allowed to exist, right? You can make an argument for Black Lives Matter and Antifa. Why? Because they are groups where, at least on paper, they say that they are for, this, that, and the other thing. If you actually go to Black Lives Matter's site and see what the leadership has placed on that and said, hey, look, this is the core values. This is what we're supposed to be about. Now, do people take it extreme and then do something in the name of it? Yeah, maybe, But there's no instance of white supremacy or white nationalism that, or Nazis that you can find that if you go back into the core of what it's supposed to be, the core principles of their beliefs are you going to find some way that somebody misconstrued it? You can't. It's all about white supremacy. It's all about white nationalism. I mean, it's all about that. Can you change Black Lives Matter into a group that, to say, okay, everybody, you need to stop, doing all this violence and shit in the name of our organization because that's not what we're about, right? Yes, you could do that. Because if you could get people to start following the core beliefs of that, then there you go. Then you wouldn't have a problem with that. Antifa, same thing. Because the anti-fascist guys, if they're anti-fascist and you fix their core beliefs and shit, you start doing that, fine. There's no way you could alter white nationalism or white supremacy or Nazi ideals to mean anything except ultimate Aryan race supremacy, white power bullshit, okay? That's the only thing they have. You can't change the core identity of that group. It's impossible. You can't make Nazi a good word. You can't make white supremacy a good thing. It's literally the advocation of genocide for all races that are not white. It is literally advocating genocide for everybody who is not a perfect Aryan, okay? Blonde hair, blue eyes, whatever. That's literally all they have, is screaming and being violent at people and, just being assholes about their ideology. You can find peaceful Black Lives Matter demonstrations. You can find peaceful Antifa demonstrations. You can find peaceful demonstrations of XYZ group. You cannot find, this is like talking about the Westboro Baptist Church. You can't find an instance where the Westboro Baptist Church wasn't being an asshole to people and being completely against people that didn't do anything wrong, right? You can't find an instance where they were right. You can't give them credit for shit. You can't give the white nationalists credit for shit either. At least I will give the original Nazis credit for something. They were efficient and malicious in how they had it. They had good leadership. They were able to take over a whole country with all their speech and rhetoric and shit, and they knew how to organize properly. You'd think if you're going to get a bunch of white nationalist parties and shit in this country, you'd think they'd all come together and try and at least have the same uniforms, the same stuff, but no, they don't even fly the same banners. They're all just fragmented groups, right? They're too stupid to unite together and form one giant, system, one party, I guess. They can't come together. They try to do their unite the right crap. Yeah. You're going to call it Unite the Right and then tell people that right-wingers are not racist. You called it Unite the Right. You had a dude, you had was it Phil Spencer is the guy's name? You had a guy in New York at a white nationalist convention saying, "Hail Trump, hail our people, hail victory." What? That's a Nazi, guys! Do I need to spell this out for you? Okay. N-A-Z-I. Nazi. Nazis. Fucking Nazis. Okay? I've said it once, I'll say it 1,000 times, I'll say it again and again and again, until somebody gets it through their thick fucking skull. Okay? If you are for white supremacy or genocide of other cultures, or you're against somebody, or you're for black supremacy, or whatever supremacy you want, if you want to twist it and say, okay, Black Lives Matter is anti-white people, which they're not, but sure, if you want to say that, nobody should be able to say black power or white power or Hispanic power or whatever and think themselves above it and say things like, I want your whole race to die, fine, ban all of that. If you don't want anybody saying that, if you don't want anybody saying anything of that. If that's what it takes to get rid of Nazis and people who are assholes to each other, then fine, I'll take that. Number two, if you're going to then try and defend white nationalists or whatever for, see what happened was try and spin it and make it out to be something that it wasn't, or say that they have a right to say what they say and not have consequences from it, or that people should not be protesting against that, you are a sympathizer. You are a Nazi sympathizer. You are a co-conspirator. You are a fucking collaborator. Whatever you want to call it, you support them because you're allowing them to do what they're doing. You're not, and it's different from being a bystander. A bystander would stand there and just not say anything and just let the two groups go at each other. But you are actively saying, no, they were doing it because of XYZ reason. You're trying to make excuses for them, which makes you a fucking sympathizer to their cause, right? And it baffles me that I have to say this. I have to sit here and say this. Nazis, bad. Racism, bad. And if you want me to do the Trump thing on many sides, fine. All forms of racism are bad. Okay? That any intelligent person would tell you that all forms of racism are bad. Black people telling white people to die is bad. White people telling black people to die is bad. Hispanic people telling Asian people to die is bad. Everybody telling everybody else to die based on just who they are and what they are is a bad thing. You can't change who you are. So you're just basically telling this person, hey, you and your whole race need to die because of X, Y, Z, whatever bullshit reason that is not scientifically proven, has nothing to do with anything. It just... I don't understand. I don't understand why I have to do this. But I'll say it for the 1,000th time. I'll say it again. Nazis are bad. Okay? Nazis are bad. Spread the word. You know, I've come up with this great new idea that maybe Nazis are bad. You know, tell people that. Everybody you meet that talks about, oh, white supremacists this, white nationalists this, or this thing about Charlottesville, that thing about Charlottesville, all you need to go back to is Nazis are bad. Everyone needs to be able to agree with that. If you can't immediately say, yes, Nazis are a bad thing. Nazis are a bad thing, and they should not be allowed, and they are a bad, bad organization. Nazis are a terrible thing, and they're the worst. If somebody looks at you and says, Nazis are bad, and you have to think for 2 seconds of if they are or not, if you have any internal conflict as to, well, there could be good Nazis, no, don't fucking do that. That makes you a sympathizer, that makes you a collaborator, that makes you a piece of shit. And you are as bad as they are if you're going to sit there and act like, well, maybe there could be a good one. No. That's like saying, well, ISIS is bad. Well, there might be nice people in ISIS. No! ISIS is bad. Nazis are bad. Hate groups are bad. Okay? Okay. I think we're done here.